Okay, I think we are live. And
Let me have
on
a
demand.
look at whether we are audible. Say
Sure.
something.
Hello. I think
I
we
don't think
sh
are
are
you
we?
audible?
I don't.
I am audible. I can't hear
Yeah,
you.
I think we are.
Okay, no, I can
Uh,
hear you as well.
okay. Well, in that case, hello everyone. Welcome to IRLD 2 Season 8, Round 16, the season finale for this season's edition of at least Division 2 in Indian Racing League, because we still have to do that one leftover race from Division 1, but I doubt. Yeah. My theories aside, with me in the commentary box is Chips, and Chips just fill everyone in on what the scenario is going into this race tonight.
So we have a thrilling championship decider in Abu Dhabi, and the protagonists are Captain Sandhu in the Mercedes and Abhishek, who is not here with us right now. He is going to be joining us. He said he would join mid quali, but yeah, these two have been embroiled in a amazing battle right from the start of the season, and it's been an absolute joy to follow their entire path to the championship. And well, this being the final round, it's going to be very interesting to see how it pans out for them.
Yeah, and do not let your eyes deceive you. By the way, that is Thakurva in a Mercedes. Don't ask why, how.
Yep,
Just take it on the chin for now.
some things
We
just
don't know.
happened.
Yeah,
Let's just
we
put it like
don't know.
that.
We don't know either. I'll just say that. And speaking of Ferrari and Mercedes, they are embroiled in the constructors battle in real life, but I think there's still constructors as well to fight for. I think um, in
I mean,
this.
I think as well. I'm not too sure. Maybe you can just pull that up while I'll just fill in
Yeah.
the viewers with the stat which our dear Caesar has given to us. That the top two are separated by a mere 13 points. Last weekend at Brazil, we had an amazing race, and it ended with Captain Sandhu finishing ahead of Abhishek. And coming into this round, Captain Sandhu has a lead of 13 points above Abhishek. And the fact of the matter is that Captain Sandhu needs to finish in the top five. There's nothing Abhishek can do to dethrone him. However, if Captain Sandhu finishes below P6 and without the fastest lap, P6 or lower without the fastest lap, and Abhishek and wins the race, and I think only in that scenario, Abhishek can take the crown away
Yeah.
from Captain Sandhu.
Meanwhile, in all of that, Thakur was sitting a first lap of the session at 24-3. That's quite competitive for this. From the off.
Yeah, I mean, we are yet to see any other laps at the moment. Speaking of whom, his, well, teammate, Captain Sandhu, is about to come around the final two
Yeah.
corners
Let's just see
and
what
finish
Sandhu
his lap.
can
Seems to be
do.
on a good
Probably his
lap as
most
well. He could match
important.
Thakurva. Yeah,
He
he
was a
matches pretty much.
bit
Two
slower,
tenths.
but I think Pradeep is doing race runs meanwhile in his
Must be, yeah.
Yes,
He's
as
just improved by a
Shrikant,
couple of
third
tenths, but
man to settle up was 24-8. Um, where's Abhishek? That is the question that we are all asking ourselves.
well, it would be very anticlimactic if he
Yeah,
can't join
we
in
are.
time.
I think Chips and I are the commentators of anticlimax so far from what we've commentated
Yes.
on. As here's a driver's seat, we was in championship contention all the way until he had the nose score in Brazil last weekend. Very unfortunate for him. But I think so. Probably his best season by far till now in IRL. Till the Abhishek joins us, giving a focus to some of the drivers who were a bit off under the radar tonight because they have nothing to fight for. One of them is Sid because he can't finish any lower than third anymore, and he can't finish any higher than third as well because he's just in that no man's land right now. But yeah, a bit unfortunate for Sid,
And
but
he goes
yeah.
fourth.
And
So
speaking
he
of
can be lower than
unfortunate,
third.
Smith Shah, a man who I think would have been at as Kabir gets
Kabir!
disqualified. And
Oh, he's blocked the pit lane there.
a certain Arjun Grewal will say that that's because he's at a 33, which is a cursed number, as we all know. And speaking of Smith Sharman, I think without his wheel failing him on like at least 3 races, I think it was something crazy like that, where he just died
I think so, yeah.
in the middle of the race because his wheel just went snap. Probably would have been a championship contender considering how many points he left on the board in the indoor scenarios. But yeah, even Smith, Smith has something to fight for because Hershey is only 8 points behind him for I think that's 4 in the championship. And then of course there
Just
is
gonna
the
pull that up.
constructors battle between the Ferraris and the Mercs. But one interesting caveat with that is Spandan's not here this week, and Captain Sandhu is the lone man. So if Alpha Tauri matched the last week's result of that 1-2, that absolutely glorious 1-2, they could finish as high as second in this constructors championship, and I think they're fourth right now, almost 30 something points south. So that should just tell you how many variables there are this weekend, and hopefully the biggest variable that being Abhishek's joining happens. Otherwise, yes, I give you full permission to dislike this week.
See, we don't have SSN with us. At the moment, we don't have Abhisheks with us. We don't have Spandan with us. What we do have, I believe, we have both AlphaTauris, and we have only one McLaren. So many teams missing a driver.
Oh, as
today.
oxidizes a massive moment right through the last one. It does a perfect 360 as well. I'll give him that. Very tight area to accomplish the task, and he accomplishes it well enough. Smith coming across to finish his lap. Does a 25-0. Yeah. So, and speaking of oxidized, luck has been with him, hasn't it, through the last few weeks of league racing. He's pretty much won or podiumed in pretty much every league race he's done of the recent past. I can't think of the last 2 weeks at least a bad league race that he's had. So if you're one of those people who reads into that sort of stuff, do read into that. But I'm just waiting for somebody to start the lap now so Chips can take you around the newly reconstructed Abu Dhabi layout. I think Thakurwa is going to start his lap. So just take us through with our provisional
I remember. Yep, I hope I remember my corner numbers well. So Thakurwa in the Mercedes starting his lap. So turn 1, let's see, his entry is fine. Let's see his line through turn 2. Alright, taking the inside line and sticking close to the apex at turn 3, running a bit wide, and well, his approach is a bit different, but he is up by a couple of hundredths in the first sector. So the turn 5 hairpin navigates it well. Down the back straight, he has no. And Abhishek is here with us. So well, goodness gracious.
Yes. Hopefully no anticlimax.
Yep, I want to know which car he'll get, but nonetheless, let's focus on Thakurwa. So coming up to this chicane, this is where we saw Lewis Hamilton straight line the corner in 2021, but nonetheless, Thakurwa keeps it within on track this time. And let's see at the end of sector 2 what his lap time is going to be like. It seems like he's on a decent lap, and he could be improving as well over here. Yeah, he's improving by a couple of hundreds. So he is just matching what he did in the on his first run, but just improving on those tiny margins where he needs to. So I mean, as we know, Holly is
a bit of a wider run into that sweeping corner. Maybe might have lost a bit of time there. I don't know. Doesn't take the full extent of that curve. Very easy to invalidate through here. Now into this infamous the Sen 7B corner, as I like to call that one, but you can't do what he did, of course, back then.
I think
and he does improve, but not
so
drastically.
If you look at it, he improved by about 4 hundredths in the first sector. He was up by about 7 or 8 hundredths in the middle sector, and the last sector he played it a bit cautious and just gained a 10th in the final sector. So, I mean, it's a consistent lap, but behind him, his quote-unquote teammate Sandhu is about to come across the final 2 corners and finish his lap. So he improved by about a 10th in the second sector. Let's see what he can do as he comes up to the line. It's a time of 1:24.3.
So that just he was down in every sector except the last one, and that should actually be kind of it should be a confident boost to Thakur because it shows how much time he has left on the table, on the chopping block, and Abhishek is now out on track with the
Yep.
somewhat now accurate sounding Ferrari engine in this game because it sounds like an absolute kettle. Why is there a McLaren's front wing on the oh, it's oxidized again. Oh, okay.
What's happened to him?
I just see a McLaren front wing on the straight and then him just running around without the front wing. So I think he's spun trying to start his hot lap.
Possibly. Like, I'm just gonna say this. I can't really agree with the statement you had made about Oxidize because I think that on most of the occasions when I have done commentary and he's been racing, I've not seen him have a good result.
Yeah, but
So
I was just
I've seen him
pointing out
spin
that
quite a
in the
lot.
past week it seems to have turned around for him. Maybe it's a purple patch.
Yep.
I don't. Hopefully
I hope
it's
so.
here to stay. As Sid
Yeah.
Venkatesh goes P4 with a
Always.
24.9.
And yeah, Abhishek's about to start his lap. The other championship contender, a bit dicey, is just steering input into the final corner.
You can
There's
see
a
that
bits of
McLaren, so you don't
McLaren
have to
strewn
run
about.
over that.
Yeah.
Damage is on
Yep.
standard, but you never know with this game. That could probably be a DNF
Oh,
and every sort of damage imaginable. Um,
Abhishek seems a bit cautious, and
as
there's
there's this Alpine.
Alpine
I think
chilling
that's just the
there.
regular side.
But
Not the best first sector so far. Will he finish this lap? Because he might not have enough to come back into the pits and then set another one. So if it's not the best lap, we might just use this as a reference.
he would have enough time to set this lap, come in and do another lap. But the fact of the matter is, I'm on board with him, and I saw his exit from the final corner and his turn into the first corner.
Yeah,
He
he
seems
is
a
taking
bit
it very,
tentative,
he's
a
taking
bit
it very
worried.
safe. He's taking very safe through this because through that slow section, he was in fourth gear, and you can be as good as
And
second
well,
as he goes purple in the middle sector. So
is that
all
purple?
of
Is that
yeah,
purple?
so I think the fact is Abhishek is 7 poles this season. We're not, he has that one lap pace advantage over pretty much everyone. So I think he knows himself that he can take probably a bit of leeway with his lap and still have it classified.
Bit of a moment there through the under the hotel section, approaching the Latifi corner, but through the final corner, let's see what this lap will get
I
Abhishek.
think this
It's
should
going to be a lap time of 23.9. Wow.
Brilliant,
Well,
brilliantly
never say
done there.
never.
And I can tell you that he probably has a bit of margin on that lap as well. So he is doing everything in his capacity, and he has his teammate directly behind him right now as well. So
how much of a factor do you think that will play into
I mean,
this
I don't.
championship battle?
Qualifying
Thakurva.
hasn't even ended yet, so I don't really know what will happen right now. But I just hope that he does it. Thakurva does it in a smart way. If you know what I mean. We don't want to see
Yeah.
any outside
Yeah.
factors influencing it. So
Absolutely not.
and just as drivers prepare for their final run, will Abhishek have enough time? He's just about
He will.
into the middle sector now. Sandhu giving a lot of way right there.
So, I mean, look, I'm just gonna bring it up here. Like last year in the real life race, we saw the real benefit that having a competitive teammate can have for your race. Like Bottas was nowhere, and he wasn't able to help Hamilton, while Checo Perez was there to help Max. Well, I mean, obviously Max
I
doesn't
think
remember
that
that.
just I think it turned out to repay the favor quite well in the end.
So,
But yes,
Abhishek is
As
sorry,
Abhishek
Thakurva
is
is in the
pits
wrong
now.
team,
Yes,
but
and in a way he's in the
nonetheless.
correct team and the wrong team at the same time. As
Yeah.
Rasam goes P4 with a 24.5, and Captain Sandhu has started his last run. And remember, Captain Sandhu is in the position that he needs. He doesn't need to do much. He already, with that mistake that Abhishek's made in Brazil on that last corner, has kind of flicked things in his favor somewhat. And from their setups, because what I'm seeing is that Abhishek did a 17.6 in the first sector, which is being cut by a 10th by Thakurva and Captain Sandhu. So he has some secret sauce in the last sector by that.
So I think the simple fact of the
Yes,
matter is he's
Thakurva
just
does
running
a
a higher downforce setup.
17.4 in the first sector,
So
and near 17.3 as well. So
Let's see Captain Sandhu through the second sector. He is up by
He's
2
two
tenths.
tenths down.
Okay, that
He's two
would
tenths down on
still not
Abhishek,
get him
though.
pole.
Yeah, he's two
That would
tenths down
get him on the
Abhishek,
front row, but not pole.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yellow flag for somebody. I think that is.
I think Abhishek is running quite an overshaded.
And Thakur spins! Thakur spins!
He's flicked the car a bit too much.
Abhishek needs to hurry up. I mean, he will have to back off for some traffic throughout the lap.
And as
There's
Captain
an Alfa
Sandhu is
Romeo.
about to finish his lap, what can he do? He goes and he
Oh.
sets a 124. He doesn't improve.
No, his last sector, his last turn was very
Yeah, he
bad.
lost the car a bit into that last turn. And the troubling part for him is that there could be a lot of drivers now who can cut that 24.3. Hershey doesn't. He was at 24.5. Just 2,000 ahead of Srikanth. Who is
Srikanth and Abhishek's racing into turn 9 hairpin.
I think Abhishek needs to just be the last car. They will easily make the finish line from this point on. I don't think there's an issue about that.
Yeah, I think Rasam can also displace Sandhu. Do you think so?
No, Rasam is
No, he
pitting.
pits.
He just set
Oh,
his
he's
lap.
in the-
So he was out of sequence with everyone.
Yeah.
Sid improves
A
by a
bit.
10th going into the first sector. Now that could be somebody who could. And Smith, he's not really had the best middle sector. Oh wait, no, he's about to start his lap.
Let's see.
This game is very confusing.
7 minutes.
Even
For
Vintage
Smith,
is
what is going
improving by 2 tenths. So there's a lot of people who could
Abhishek has started his lap.
Abhishek has started. I don't think there's any pressure on him to do anything.
Rasam. Okay.
Uh,
Oh, Thakur, I think is backing you up to give Abhishek some toe. Oh, all
and
right.
Abhishek finally does
Is
a
this how it's gonna work out?
first sector. But do you think Abhishek even needs to do this lap? In all honesty, I don't.
He
I don't
might
really
as well.
think-
I mean,
he is burning a set of softs, and as you know from the real life Abu Dhabi, you never know when a pair of fresh softs could come in handy.
I mean, look, I hope we don't see something akin to what we saw last year. But I mean, Abhishek's pace will certainly
As
put a
Oxidize
dent
goes
in
P4
Captain Sandhu.
with 3,000s behind.
Sidvi
Captain
P5.
Sandhu. So Captain
Abhishek's
Sandhu
up by
will be
almost 2
thanking
tenths.
his lucky stars that probably the McLaren is a bit longer than the Mercedes that he runs.
And Srikanth is, I think, the only other one who can set a lap. Also, oh no, Raman and Smith can also displace Captain Sandhu. But
Yeah,
let's
and
see
Smith
Abhishek
might
through
be
the
on
final few corners.
He might be on the pace. Abhishek's on the last corner. What can he do? Coming.
He's up.
Yeah, he is up, and I think this should be pole number 8 of the season. I don't think anyone's beating that.
No, I don't
now
think they are. Smith goes
we have
P9.
Srikanth to cross the line,
Srikanth.
and he goes P2. So he does displace Captain Sandhu. So Captain Sandhu one position above where he needs to be, but for what will be troubling him is that he's a bit more mired in the pack than he would have wanted to be, and of course you don't want that to happen, because at that point you never know what could happen. But one thing I do want to bring up, Chips, this track is notorious for being a tire temp nightmare. If a driver has set up his car to have too much pressure on it, he is going to really struggle in this race. And I think the title protagonist will have known that. I of course remember that infamous race in Silverstone where everyone's tires were just dying after like 4 or 5 laps because they could not turn the car even. So I hope people have learned a lesson from that, because this track is much worse than Silverstone when it comes to that aspect. But anyway, the grid rundown. Abhishek in P1, that is pole number 8 of the season. Srikanth in P2, Thakura P3, Captain Sandhu P4, Oxtesh P5, Sid P6, Rasam P7, Hershey P8, Smith P9, Abdul P10, Mosquito 11th, Vintage Player 12th, Raman 13th, URL Pradeep 14th, Abhi 15th, and Kabir in 16th, who got disqualified. Yeah.
But I mean, almost half a second, from between Srikanth and Abhishek.
Yeah,
what do you make of that?
The classic.
And
the classic
Malav Masi
ratio going on in the Discord that distracted me for a second right there. But